you today?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing fine. So I've just given you a SUDS scale. I just want to rank your distress from 0 to 100. Exactly how you're doing today.
Um, I would have to say I'm at a 30, which is mild anxiety, distress, no interference with performance.
Okay, so it seems like there's something probably going on behind the scenes that we have to discuss today.
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk about that later. Thank you for that. Also, I gave you another assessment called the GAD-2 and I believe the PHQ-2,
Yes.
right? If you can just do that, fill that out for me and share your scores with me.
Okay. Okay.
You can use a pen from mine. Okay. That might not work. I chose to do the GAD-2 and the PHQ-2 just for the sake of shortening time with the client and with you, and for the sake of us moving on to a quicker solution-focused process with the client, with Brittany. So she shared that she expresses little interest or pleasure in doing things for several days and in a 1 scale, and she's been feeling down, depressed, or hopeless at a 0, which totals her score to a 1. Okay. This is having troublesome problems within the past 2 weeks. So it seems like you've been feeling both having mild anxiety and having little interest to do things. Can you tell me a bit more of how and like why and where that event is happening?
Yeah, so like I said before, I'm in school, so like that's where my like kind of anxiety is coming in now, like just trying to like, get everything together, like my assignments and everything.
Mm.
So it's like a lot of that is going on. It's just like a lot of weight on me. Um, and then like my family, there is just so much drama within my family that it's like I can't deal with it anymore.
Okay.
And I would have to say, like the school stuff started probably like a week ago. And then like my family stuff that started last year for Christmas.
Okay. Do you mind if I write stuff on the whiteboard since we're both
Sure.
busy? So I'm just gonna write down your situation. So you're saying it's been happening with your family?
Yes.
Um, you said they've been a bit intrusive to you?
Just kind of like giving me like dumping like all of their problems on me.
I remember, yes. So, I remember, I think you said trauma dumping. Right?
Yeah, trauma
Okay.
dumping.
Are they still doing that? Like, have they continued to do that since our last session?
Um, just a little bit, not as excessive as it was.
So what I have written on the board in terms of the situation is that her family is continuing to trauma dump problems, and from the last session to now, it's not as excessive, but the problem is still consistent. Um, so I'm getting ready to introduce you to a thought catalog, which talks about identifying automatic thoughts, evaluating those thoughts, and then how to respond to those thoughts alternatively.
Okay.
Does that seem something you want to do?
Yes.
Um, so I have given you a paper sheet of the thought record. We already talked about the situation, and we talked a little bit about your emotions currently, but how are your emotions or feelings rated on a scale from 0 to 100 when the trauma dumping is occurring?
I would say like a 90.
Okay, so this is giving you a lot of like stress.
Right.
What thoughts are current through your mind when your family members are really like dumping all of this negative, negative information?
I would say like I'm kind of like annoyed, like and agitated because I just feel like I don't even need to be listening to their problems because I have problems of my own. And then it's not like they ask me about my problems. So yeah, it's kind of like I kind of don't care at times, like what they're saying to me, unless it's like, of course, a serious situation like that.
So it sounds like you've been feeling pretty agitated, annoyed, and sometimes even indifferent when you're listening to your family members, unless it's a crisis situation, correct? Okay. So like I feel like I definitely understand when people aren't listening to you. Do you feel like you're not really feeling heard during those conversations as well?
Yeah, right. Like everything's about them. They just talk about them in their life. It's like, and then if I try to say something, they just revert the conversation back to them and what they have going on.
And the conversation is pretty much really one-sided.
Yeah, very one-sided.
Now we're going to move on to some thoughts that support that belief of like not feeling heard, annoyed, or different. So what thoughts support the following beliefs?
Like nobody cares about my life. Nobody cares about what I have going on. Just kind of like out here by myself. I'm only the person, like the only person to support myself.
So you said no one cares and you feel that no one else is there to support you. Would you say that you feel very independent, but like not in the best way of feeling independent?
Yeah, like I know for a fact that I'm an independent person, but like as you said, it's not like in the best way. Like sometimes I want to say, "Oh, I have this friend that I can just go to, and they can take care of whatever I have like going on." And it's like I don't have to. Like I'm the person that takes care of everybody else and what they have going on.
Would you say you're the caretaker of the family?
Not the caretaker, but I am someone who everyone comes to for advice or any like anything.
And when people like come to you, do you still feel these feelings, these thoughts?
It just depends on the situation. Like if like I have cousins that'll ask me for money and I'm just like you're wrong.
Okay. Now let's move on to the next thing. What does not support this thought? The thoughts that agitate and like that's all. I know it's a bit of a positive question.
Yeah. I mean, I guess my like surrounding, like close friends that I have lift me up. Um, and they tell me that I'm like a great person. So yeah, it's like a lot of like my really close people tell me like, like I wish I was like you, or I want to be like you. Like you're an inspiration to so many people.
Wow.
So yeah, I do get those good affirmations.
So it seems like when you have a really close social system, they're very like uplifting and are very they in lack of better terms, they see your light.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm gonna put mine, but this is in terms of you. I'm just gonna write my friends see your light. My friends see my light. Now we're gonna move on to alternative thoughts. Which is just weighing up supporting and not supporting thoughts. How do you feel now during these times of the situation that your family is trauma?
I'm sorry, can you like kind of break that down for me?
Okay. So you talked about the situation itself when your family is trauma dumping, you feel like no one cares, or you're the only person to support yourself, or there's not really listening to you in a way. But we just went over things that like when your family does call you, or maybe even afterwards, or for any other situation, you do have close friends that are present and uplifting. So moving on to the alternative, like knowing that you know now, how do you feel that this original problem is?
I want to say like because it's like pros and cons to it. I would say I'm kind of like I have mixed signals. Like I know that what people, my close friends, and what people tell me like are good things.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, there's those certain like number of people that's just like kind of like trying to drain me. So I'm kind of like in the middle and indifferent about it. But I will say that I know that I'm a good person. Like my heart is
So I wrote your feelings are mixed and indifferent, and I have they have a pure heart. Um, Going off of your current emotion now, how would you rank that you are from 0 to 100 things? How'd you make that choice?
I would say at this very moment, I could say I'm at a 50.
Probably like moderate. Um, so when you're doing this thought catalog, this is going to be your homework. This is something that you'll do on your own. So whenever you have these thoughts of feeling agitated, annoyed, or not feeling heard, I just want you to think of evidence that supports this and evidence that doesn't support this, and maybe like think of an alternative thought towards it.
So do you have any like methods for me, like any skills I can use when I'm like at a 90 and I'm in high distress?
Yep.